Player Development Pod family. Hey, what's up? Y'all know it's season four of the Player Development Pod. I'm so excited. I told y'all we're gonna have great topics. Season two was a huge success, and we were interviewing, people in the role. And so look, hey, it's a lot of people doing impactful work in the role. Y'all love season two, so we're gonna mix these interviews in for season four. And so I'm so excited to have Antoine McClain from Paul Journey at Clemson University. If you have not, or you don't know what Paul Journey is, you are missing out. Actually, they know this. Antoine heard this at the conference. I went to the shop. It's coming. Sending a plaque to them from beyond the field, just for the excellence they've done, and just the program they've created. But not only the program they created, the young men and all the lives that they've touched through the Paul Journey. So excited to have Antoine McClain. My man has NFL experience. We'll talk about that. I didn't play against him, so he didn't pancake me. He would have pancaked me, but I didn't play against him, so that didn't happen. But now excited to have you on from the Yellowhammer State for you all listening from Alabama. So Antoine, man, so thankful to have you on. Thank you for the support. This man supports me. He doesn't have to, because they're doing stuff on the elite level, but he supports beyond the field, and because of his support, we're able to do things like that. So Antoine, man, if you could tell us about yourself, man, I'm so excited to get this thing going.
Man, Ed, dog, thank you so much for having me on, dog. You've been a great help for me from a long time. I just want to put that out there, kind of like Gene Tramps. They always want to give everybody flowers, man. Somebody's give you their flowers because you help a lot of people along this journey, man, with your knowledge, and you've been a forefather with helping with this generation of player development. So, but again, my name is Antoine McClain. I am the director of former player engagement and development for Clemson football and Paul Journey. Like my man Ed said, I'm from Alabama. I played at Clemson from '08 to 11. Had a chance to play in the National Football League. My first team there, I won a Super Bowl my rookie year with the Ravens. I had a chance to spend a couple places, couple teams, and I finished my last 2 years in Arizona. Did a year Canadian football, and then I hung up my cleats for good. But man, it's been a great journey. I gotta thank guys like Lamont Winston and Kevin Winston, and most all, man, I gotta thank the godfather of them all, Mr. Harry Swain, who helped me see the light as a young man and helped me through all my life and journey. So that's kind of how I fell into like this role with guys like that, just listening to them and look at how they, not just what their job was, but how they poured into us young men to help us be great men and fathers to this day, along with Jeff Davis and all those guys. But I will have to say, like, Harry Swain was one of the guys that helped me to, see my worth outside of football and helped me to be a man as a rookie. So, man, so my journey kind of stands from a small town, city in Alabama, Anniston. After that, I played football at Clemson and then went to NFL and had a chance to work in NFL and player engagement with guys with Usama Young and my guy D.Y. and my girl Shakina Babb and John Mark and all those guys, man. That team we had, it helped me to, see further down the road when I get into that structure status of a director and executive to build a team to help execute, player development, player engagement. But for all, man, just pouring into former athletes and current athletes, because it's not a road for the weak, man. You gotta, if you don't come from that background, as far as knowing, like knowing what you have to do as far as life-wise, it can be a different journey. But that's the blessing in the journey for me, man. Not having all those tools and realizing I did have them because I, was a great athlete, but I transferred those skills into be a man to this day. And I'm still a work in progress, man. I'm not perfect. And I think that's why a lot of guys like myself and Ed and all these guys that's in this role, we tell the truth and we don't hide and be cliche. We try to tell how it is. That's how you get respect, in my opinion. So all that played a big role in my journey to where I am today.
Man, it's incredible. Thank you for sharing that. Like, I'm listening to all the people in your life. I got to do my research on Mr. Swain, but man, I heard Lamont Winston, Kevin Winston, Jeff Davis, the judge. I've heard about him.
Yes, sir.
People I work with, Chancey Stuckey at Baylor. We worked together. He talked to
Stuck.
them. I read articles and just, man, you were like walking, like you've been surrounded by Hall of Fame. Like y'all got to understand this. Like if there was a player development Hall of Fame, this would be like him saying, yeah, I was coach, Hall of Fame coach. Coach Sweeney's a Hall of Fame coach. And let's
Mm-hmm.
say, well, Jim Harbaugh's Hall of Fame coach. Man, you've been
Harbaugh. I
you
played with Ray Lewis, Ed
Ray
Reed,
Lewis.
Michael
Yeah.
Orr. I
Ed Reed.
played
Yeah.
with, man, some guys, bro. Like, and
They
the
got a
one
Hall of
thing, I mean,
Fame.
cut you off though, but the one thing I'm mad at myself that I didn't do, regret wise, is I never got those guys to sign jersey because I was like, no, I'm the young dude. I'm gonna sit back. I ain't want to play it, but now I'm like, dang, I played with Larry Fitzgerald for 2 years. I'm like, how did I miss that opportunity to get that jersey signed? So yeah, man.
Yeah. So that's awesome, man. I know all those people you mentioned, not only on a player development journey, but also on your professional athlete journey, your collegiate athlete journey. There's so much value that those people bring. You talked about getting in this role and how you got in the role. Could you talk about like strategically, okay, you say your career was done, you helped the NFL, but you could talk about the steps of getting back to your alma mater and helping, one of the groups I think is probably the most neglected in all of athletics, which needs more support and attention, is the former players.
Right. Yeah, man. So when I finished playing ball, I hung my cleats up in about 2017. I was just working out, training for whatnot. So after about a year of that, I kind of moved back to Arizona. And man, started working at a dealership that I hated. No, I take that back. I started working at a airport because I didn't have my degree at the time. I was working at an airport I go from making a game check a week to making $10 an hour because I didn't have my degree. So man, that hurt me bad, man. But it made me man up to say like, all right, cry now, but like just work harder and really manifest what you want. So hindsight 2020, I'm driving. I done came back to Arizona. I done got my degree, and I'm working at a dealership which I hated. And I'm driving to work, but I was always forward thinking. I was always grateful for where I was and where I'm not at because I had a lot of friends that still trying to figure out and fight that identity battle. But driving to work one day and Harry Swain called me. Harry Swain was my DPE when I was at the Ravens for 2 years. So he always call and check in. Even when I was on other teams, he always call and check in. He asked me what was I doing, and I told him what I was doing, and we talked about like the steps I was in. Actually at this time I was working at the dealership. I just worked at I moved on to working an enrollment counselor at GCU in Phoenix.
Mm.
So it was kind of like it was okay gig, but I was not happy. I'm not an office dude, so we was talking about what I want to do, and I said I wanted his job, and he not saying I wanted his job. But I wanted to be in that profession because I understood what I can do for guys and whatnot. So
Right.
the NFL had the Legends Development Program, and he kind of like put my name in the hat for that. I did the process, did all the interviews, and ended up getting that opportunity to work in the league office, and that turned from a 6 month internship to a year and a half. And I believe I still probably been working there with me from COVID, but God works in mysterious ways, so I'm not tripping. That was a great stepping stone for my career because I got a chance to learn what player engagement was from the top level, and it trickled down to all the DPEs. And a guy like Darrell Young and Usama Young, man, them guys took me under their wing. And Darrell didn't have to do what he had to do, but he took me along to different clubs when he visits, so I learned how all that works. And I'm speaking to rookies off the top of the head, no script. He was like, "Go ahead." I'm like, "Oh, what am I talking about? I don't know what I'm gonna talk about." And I just, it kind of just came out. But then I watch how he moves. I watch how Usama moves. I watch how Art McAfee, man, one of the greatest executives I ever been like in arms with. I just watched how them men moved and how they, commanded the room, but also too, they genuinely cared about the guys' well-being. Even the DPEs, we going to eat dinner with these guys and we learning what the needs are and how to best connect with them versus just I have programs. Here you go, do this or that. But we learning like, all right, what's working for you, what's not working for you. So sitting back, I'm like, all right, cool. And then I had a whole knowledge of like what they're doing program wise that I could put my spin on. Darrell used to make me sit there like on days where I had nothing to do. He would make me meet with all the department heads, figure out how it worked. So I got a chance to see how the NFL works from a football logistics department, not just player engagement. Then he would also say, "You want to be a DPE one day? All right, now give me your rookie plan for the year, and also too your program for your second and third year guys." So create my own stuff, but I'm seeing it because this is what we're going to do when visiting these clubs. So I'm seeing that firsthand and developing my own set. So when you get to become a DPE, you're gonna be ready because you already had your stuff rolled out. All you gotta do is customize it towards the program or the school or the team you gonna be representing or working for. So stuff like that, man. So pandemic happened. They let all the interns and student workers go or the rotational program because they didn't know what was gonna happen. Nobody did. So I ended up getting a post internship at the University of Tennessee for 9 months. Great opportunity. Jessica Wildfire and that group, man. I got a chance to do some of the stuff that I wanted to do in the league office. But then after that, I got hired as the director of student athlete development at UNC Charlotte. Dog, I worked there for 2 days, and I got like, well, it wasn't even 2 days. I moved in. I'm going to park. I'm going to figure out where I park at. So the night beforehand, so I won't be late. I know where to park at and all that. So I had a chance. We driving to the actual school, and Coach Swinney calls me. And if everybody know Coach Swinney, man, he's always connected to his former players. He might text you, but phone call, we know he's a busy man. But when Swinney call you, man, that's a call you don't want to miss because he's a busy guy. And me and Swinney go way back till I was like 17. And I know when he called, it's something serious and something vital. So he called and was saying a guy, Travis Blanks, who kind of like started the overtime, which is my pillar of PAW journey for former players. He was leaving to get to take on another job in another field, and he'd been there since he signed his commitment there. So it was good for him to get a chance to venture out in the world. I mean, he's capitalizing right now. But anyways, Swinney was like, before he left, he wanted him to give him 3 names, and my name was at the top of the list. And Swinney was like, well, my name was at the top of his list too, so it was a no-brainer. So he offered me the job, and bro, like moving in the pandemic, and I already have my apartment, and then I'm like in the red. I'm like, I ain't gonna like turn this down because this is something always want to do. This is something I thought I was gonna do like when I'm retired. I'm like done with my career. Like it came like within a year or two of retiring. So uh I remember having an uncomfortable conversation with the AD. Like, look, man, like I know y'all love me, y'all want me to do great things here, but I know it's 2 days in. I don't, hey, I'm taking the position as a director at Clemson football with Coach Swinney and Paul Journey and X, Y, and Z. So he understood. He gave me a little lecture, but I'm like, all right, bro. Like I hear you, but like I'm not gonna like if it's meant to be, then it'll happen. But at the same time, I was like, man, I get a chance to work at my alma mater under a great program and mentoring God, whether it's former player or current player. So here I am, man. It's been my 3rd season back at Clemson, man. So that journey, dog, took me from crying and sobbing in my car every night driving home. But I never lost the faith. But it sucked to being in a place to where I was like, dang, I didn't get hired in NFL league office, but I'm kind of in a great situation at Clemson. So man, that journey, dog, helped me out a lot. It just being who I am today and helping me understand office politics, helping me understand how to maneuver as a young man in this business, as a young black man in this business, and also too, man, I got a story and I'm authentic, so guys respect that more. So I was blessed by my journey, man.
No, it's I appreciate you sharing that because I think a lot of times, and you know this too, because if my LinkedIn is popping, I know yours is popping with messages from students, and they want to get exactly to where you are right now. And it's like, man, it's a lot of opportunities that yourself, myself, other people have done that got us prepared for this. I was a high school coach before, you know what I'm saying? And you had, you were at the league office, you were here, you did different things. And I think one thing we always talked about at the conference, and I know you were at the conference, is just showing people it's not linear at this point. Do I think eventually it will be? Yeah, I think there'll be a GA position, and I think that there'll be managers, coordinators, different things like that. But right now, I love these stories because it gets people who are listening. Because I mean, you probably got 800 messages of people reaching out. Hey, can you talk to me? Can you 30 minutes? Can I pick your brain? And this is y'all's chance to pick the brain. So make sure you're
Yeah.
listening.
Yeah. But the thing
So,
about that
uh-huh.
too, man, I know LinkedIn is great, but I try my best, to answer as many people because I was that kid, I was that guy at one point. So I don't never try to be like, I know my thing. I know your thing is very flooded, but like I try my best to like help as much as I can. Like, and I don't think people understand. It's like we can give y'all the knowledge, but it's like it's a chance of luck and it's a chance of being prepared for the opportunity when it comes. And then too, looking at a GA role or a smaller role, that can be your foot in your door into where you want to be in player engagement and player development.
Yeah, that's number one thing I tell people all the time. How do I say get in the athletic department and then go find a director of player development because they always need help. That is one position that's always they always need help. So talk about your responsibilities. You take care of the former players, and like I said a little earlier, I think this is one people ask me what's the biggest, or most underrated part of player development. I always think it's the former player engagement. So if you could talk about your role and responsibilities and just your day to day, what that looks like in the role.
So with my pillar being overtime service and our former players is commitment, connections, and just the overall celebration of our former players. But man, I kind of wear a lot of hats, and I got a very unique role because I am in Paul journey. So like a lot of our stuff that we do, we bring a lot of our former players back to give their expertise and perspective on with programming and panels and X, Y, and Z. So gotta coordinate all of that. And then I have so many events, bro. Like I have so many events throughout the year celebrating our former players and inviting our guys back to be a part of our programming with being a lifeline back to Clemson. And then I kind of do a fundraising aspect of it because my role is conjunction with our fundraising group is IPTAY. So I have to handle tickets, parking, all the stuff dealing with former player affairs and accommodations for the game. I'm having to connect them with jobs and donors and, figuring out what they want to do when they finish playing and connecting with our NFL guys, which is a beast in his own. And then with our non-NFL guys, just keeping them engaged. So that's along. And then part of my job is to be a mentor to our current guys with me and Rashad's expertise and Jeff's expertise with playing at Clemson and being an adult, being a grown man, just figuring out that navigation, that part of life on his own. So I have a lot, man. I have a lot going on. I have about 13 events I have annually now. And then adding on game day. And then we figuring out whenever Rashad has a career fair or anything like that, connecting with our guys to make sure they got everything they need because Paul Journey is very young. It's 2017, 18 when that building got there. For the most part, that was just Jeff and Savannah and Rashad just doing their thing before the actual building came into place. So now that we have a established brick and mortar, we doing a lot of backtracking with guys. So we having guys that like myself who didn't have a Paul journey. So right. We make sure they got all of their life skills and making sure they got their resume up to date and, figuring out their interests. Now I'm in a good space because I have a chance to connect with our guys now and being on staff. So when they leave, right. I already got what they need, what they're looking for. But another credit to you, man. Your book helped me a lot in that space with exit meetings, man. Like Jesus Christ, like I know I haven't got that like fully engulfed yet because of figuring out my role my first year and second year. All right, I think I got it now. This year, now I got it. So and Sweeney loved that idea too, by the way. So, but I always give you kudos on that, man. Just stuff like that. So I can nurture these guys now. So when it's time for them to leave, I've already got an idea of what they're looking to do, and we have that communication familiarity because I've been there when they was there from a freshman to a senior, and this now 6-year senior. So, but that's kind of what and then too, man, I'm trailblazing, man. This never been done before at a school. It sucks sometimes because like some people might not get the idea, but Jeff do a great job of keeping me motivated and keeping me enthused. When you're a trailblazer and you're a pioneer, it's going to be hard for everybody to see the vision, but you keep building and and celebrate your wins, man. He said, we're so stuck in the athlete world. We got to celebrate our wins. So those things will help me along my day. But man, I wear a lot of hats, brother. And it's a beast, but it's great. I love it. As everybody's job, it gets frustrating, but at the end of the day, man, I made some great strides, and I think we get into a good place with our former players.
Man, I love it. I love seeing it on LinkedIn, man. You say you got a lot of events. I feel like every time I refresh LinkedIn, I'm like, hey, look, man, my man Antoine here. He here. They doing something there. But hold on, man. I heard something. Let me give a time out. Y'all got y'all own building?
Well, Paul Journey wasn't like
y'all got a section.
It's within football complex. When that complex got built, we always tell guys none of this stuff was here when we was here. So we always said we don't be like hating no G's, but like now we have an actual Paul Journey suite within the actual facility. So when you walk in, you see the front desk attendant, and you see House of Truth, you see Leadership in this, you see Paw Journey. So we have our own, and I think that's great because I learned this when I was playing in Baltimore. The location is key, man. So when them guys walk in, you see rings and trophies, but you see House of Truth and you see Paw Journey. So
Right.
kind of serving our current guys. So yeah, man, we right there, right when you open the door.
Okay, so I gotta come visit the new building because I gotta visit the new building because I went to the old building back when I was a high school coach. I got this new car and I was like, I'm going to the East Coast to visit people. So I reached out to I could see his face. I think Coach Jeff Scott. I think he was coaching receivers at the time,
Yeah, yeah, yeah.
and he was recruiting our area. And so I was like, Hey, Coach, you mind if I roll through? He's like, Yeah, man. No, he wasn't recruit. I didn't meet him yet. A recruit. What I did was I sent letters to every coach on the East Coast because I knew I was gonna go to Atlanta, and I was like, Oh, Clemson only 2 hours away from Atlanta. Let me go. So I sent him a letter. He's like, Man, come through. So I go there, and I'm like, I pull up and I had to go to that Walmart somewhere in Clemson because I forgot a belt out of all the belts. So I had to go to, that Walmart that's
It's in
surrounded with the
Central.
trees.
Yeah.
So I'm in there looking for a belt. So I pull up and the lady up front, I can't remember her name, but like I open the door and she's like, Hey, Coach Jones. And I'm like, Dang, how does lady know my name? Like,
Miss
she's
Beth.
like, Yeah. Yeah, yeah. And so she was like, Coach Scott's office is down there. So I go to Coach Scott's office. They had just went to office meeting room. He texts me, Hey man, I got the film up for you. You can watch, blah, 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 blah. And I was like, man, this man got my card next to his phone and all that, right? So I'm watching film of Sammy Watkins, and this was D Hop, and it looked like Sammy Watkins we had shot out of a cannon, man, on them
Bruh,
screens. I was like,
man,
golly.
that kid came in
So
as a freshman taking over.
yeah, so I go in, and then Coach Scott comes out, and I was just impressed that I hear Coach Sweeney. At the time, Coach Morris comes. Hey, it's a guy here from Texas. It's a guy here from Texas. So he comes, and then Coach Sweeney, I didn't want him. I knew it was spring ball. I didn't think I'd meet
Oh yeah.
anybody, whatever, you know what I'm saying? But like, I remember he came in, Hey man, this is before I knew anything about player development. He's like, Hey, how you doing, man? Thank you so much for coming. He's like, if you leave here without anything, that's on you. And so I'm in there, I'm in a meeting. I think the receiver room, Mike Williams was in there, and all these
Hmm.
people, and like going to the practice. I met a couple former players. And he's like, man, we just come back, man. We love it. So seeing it from that aspect of a coach, and then hearing, your experience as a former player, and now knowing you're leading that, the charge for former players, man, it's incredible. And when you talk about this, your role being a trailblazer, y'all are doing this. There's starting to be roles in the NFL where they're starting to go like director of alumni relations or director, because
Legends
you're
director.
already, yeah,
Yeah,
they could come to you and get the game. So
man.
yeah, you give them all the game, and so,
Yeah.
but you got the structure. So yeah, man. So now, moving to this next question right here, what's the biggest thing you learned in the role? I know you saw it as a player, but what's the biggest thing you learned in the role as a professional?
And like as director of former players or just overall in player development?
Just overall player development.
Man, one thing I would say, bro, is like always be authentic, man, because they can smell it. They can smell it. And then I'm thinking as a young kid, I'm like I can smell it too. I can tell it's not genuine. Always be genuine, man, and always do what you say what you're gonna do. And I hear a lot of people say that, but that's true, man. But also too, I would say just uh you learn your skills, but just because it worked this year, you kind of have to tailor it because as we see now, it's a new kid coming in nowadays. So just always be fresh, man. Always be organic and keep their attention, man. And like, and just be mindful of what you say. You don't have to speak all these elaborate words, or some people like to do it, but I would say one key, man, always meet them where they are, whether that's a rookie, a freshman, or a second or third year player in the league, or your veterans on your college team, man. Always, always speak their language because if you have great information but you're speaking over their head, they're not gonna get it. They're not gonna care, and they're gonna start being on their phones. They're gonna start looking to us where they're not gonna get the message. So just always speak their language, man. I know sometimes in the league, I know they had a great guy speaking a seminar, but this dude was speaking so many words, and everybody was like, I don't, you know, like he could just say 1 + 1 = 2. He could have just said
Right.
that, but just always just meet them where they are and always connect with your guys. Not nobody cares how many big words you know and X, Y, and Z. Always speak their language, in my opinion. That goes a long way because at the end of the day, who cares if you can speak magnificent words and have great programming? if they can't receive it or get it the right way, then you just talking.
Yeah.
So I will say that's a major key in player development or just any role, even being a teacher in my opinion. Use a teacher too as well. So I'm pretty sure that goes along the way as well. Look at those guys who creating handshakes with their students, or letting them rap their essay or letting them rap their test. Like, who cares if they rapping it? They got the information and they passing the class, and they can go on to the SAT or the ACT and remember that rap. Oh yeah, boom, boom, boom. So you got to kind of like be with the times, man, but also to connect with your audience.
It's interesting you say that about teaching, because one of my favorite stories is, UGK, hold it down, Bun B and Pimp C. So Pimp C, rest in peace, his son was in my class, Lil Chad.
Really?
Yeah, yeah. So
That's crazy.
I ain't know nothing about him, right? He walked in the class and said, hey man, this is my classroom, this the rules, blah, blah, blah. So find out, he talking to me, he's like, yeah, Chad. And I start looking at his name, I look at the role, I say,
Chad
wait a
Butler.
minute. I text my brother, I was like, hey, what, and then I asked the counselor the next day, I said, is that? They're like, yeah, that's his son. So Lil Chad would come in my class every day. Chad never, ever came in with, no supplies, but he was always locked in. Always
Yeah.
locked in. He always knew the stuff. And he got to the point where I would have to be, a Lil C, can you raise your hand, man? He would beat my sentences, but the principal would come in. The principal was like, hey, he doesn't have, this or that. Like, why are you not, I said, for what? He's listening. Like, he's listening. He getting it. And I know what's going to happen. Yeah, at the end of the day or in the week, I would walk to his desk, say, Chad, here's a pencil and paper. Write down everything you learned this week. Or Chad, test coming. Just come in with the test. Don't be like blah, blah, blah. And then I go to this meeting. Every other teacher is, man, he doesn't do this. He doesn't do this. He doesn't do this. And I'm like, bro, he's my favorite student. Like
Right.
literally my favorite student. Like I hope he in here when I get the principal walk through. So it goes back to what you said. Like, Chad just saw me and I asked him one day, I said, Chad, what? He's like, man, you just teach, man. You ain't worried about, like, you teach, and I like the way you teach. You don't use nothing till you point nothing big. You challenge us, but you don't, like, it's never over us. Like, but to your point, yeah, man, like, you just got it. Them guys, they see through you. Like, I used to tell coaches, I would legit tell coaches, hey, y'all, they smarter than y'all think they are. And like, cause they sitting there, they could play y'all, they playing y'all. But anyway, that's a good observation there. But I'm big on just being authentic. Next question for you is, what does support look like? I know Coach Sweeney supports you all, and you can tell me what support looks like, or how that support from Coach Sweeney helps y'all in PAW journey and helps you in your role as you're bringing former players back.
Oh, well, no, man. Sweeney's a big advocate of bringing former players back, and I think of support. It's like backtrack. When Sweeney first got hired in 2009, he didn't hire a coach; he hired a former player, Jeff Davis. And then one of his first events he did was having the former player barbecue. One of the things I have to lead down, which is dope. I get to put my own spin on it, but
Right.
he always wanted to bring the former guys back to help build the house, and also too, he always telling the younger guys, "Hey, you see why I hire all them former players on the staff now, so y'all can get that advice. So when we telling y'all something, it's just like you telling your kid, but your homeboy telling you like, oh yeah, like dude, I've been saying that the whole time. So stuff like that, he always shouting us out. Even with Paul Journey, he always advocate for that. He always making sure recruit have to come by and speak with us and Jeff and make sure they understand the whole premise around Paul Journey, not from the standpoint of you getting your life skills to the end of your role when you graduate and when you go into life. So my biggest thing is I always say is it's not a 4-year commitment, it's a 4-life commitment. So Sweeney always advocate for, when I need stuff done or when I need to get stuff done, it may not be right then, but he get it and he always, kind of do it the way he can orchestrate in his way. And also too, man, when we think about player development as a whole, which including former players in that, man, we got so many donors that, we can have great events because we had great donors and people who love what we're doing. So whenever it's for a current or a former player, man, we have we raised Jeff raised the money and a lot of people bought into the program. So we have that support that way. And people are always speaking highly of like what we do in Paul Journey. But I get my biggest glory from support when I always get the chance to share with guys that have emailed me, wives have emailed me, and so when I need something done, I have the logistics and the I guess the what you want to say, the quantitative information to back up why I need something and what it's gonna do. Because again, man, I've done this on the highest level with the NFL, so it's like I can take what I learned there and I can implement it in a college setting. And then also too, when those guys leave as a former player to go to NFL in life, man, they're already equipped. So that's alone, man. And then too, having advocates as those former players and our current guys just bigging up our program. But no, man, we get support from every which way, man, because we have the information to back it up. And also too, man, we have the biggest asset is our ambassadors that are the voices of that, and it shows so people, they know what they're getting into when they buy into it, and whenever we need something done, man, we always have a good opportunity to get it done because we have the stuff to back it up, and it's also a great turnout for the current and the former guy.
Appreciate you sharing that. Sports huge. All right, we're gonna move to the advice section. What's your overall advice for those in this role, those looking to get, and those, excuse me, looking to get in the role?
It's funny enough, man. Uh, the applause is gonna come from guys doing the work and guys actually being an example of what your programming is. And I say, don't, again, I heard this in your conference, don't look for a pat on the back because if you're doing it for that, you're gonna have a lot of miserable days. But I would say also too, man, in this space, whether it's former player or anything player engagement, man, you have to build your infrastructure. And that was the first thing Jeff told me when I came into this role, bro. Like,
Okay.
yeah, you are a part of Power Journey, but you're not dealing with the 130. You're dealing with all of us. So he's saying, it's gonna be great doing stuff with us, but like eventually, man, it's gonna branch off to be its own thing. So you got to build your team as best as you can to help get everything done. Because if you're trying to do everything yourself, or what you have, it's gonna barely scratch the surface. When you have a devoted team, that is where you're gonna get the rewards and reap of your benefits because you have a dedicated team and y'all not burnt out. Like, man, it's so many people that I've heard stories about or just moving forward that haven't weathered the storm because they got burnt out. And, and you don't want to say no because, you're passionate about the space. So, man, I would tell anybody in this, when you're dealing with in this role, in this space, man, you have to build your infrastructure.
Yeah. No, I think that I never thought about that. Like, it's not the 120, it's all of us. Like that
Yeah.
infrastructure is huge because like one thing I love about y'all at Clemson is, I mean, and you all listening, you've heard it. There's a staff, doing it by myself for 6 years. Shout out to Lauren Hawkins for giving me the best help I ever had. But doing, man, that stuff gets tough quick. What's the best advice you've received in your life?
In my life, ooh, man, the best advice that I've received in my life, man, is my dad always told me, man, don't accept no wood nickels. And I didn't know what that meant. But I asked him, I said, why do you keep telling me that? Like, what does that mean? He was like, basically, saying, don't sell yourself short, man. Don't sell yourself less than what you're worth. And never be too big to say no because you're getting taken advantage of. But that comes with self-awareness. And another one I heard is the biggest one is discipline, man. If you don't have discipline, you don't have nothing. And that goes a lot, bro. Like, it's so hard because when you dealing with flesh, you dealing with money, you dealing with
Right.
success, you dealing with all this stuff, man. I always now I pray for like, can I don't let me get bored with the mundane and doing the stuff that's needed to do every day. And that's one of my daily prayers now, bro, because you can get swept away by buildings and gear and a role. And that's why I never try to like, talk bad about anybody in this space or just like, kind of rain on somebody else's parade because you never know what's going to happen. But discipline, man, I would say just be disciplined and know what you want and be disciplined.
Appreciate that, man. That's huge right there. What's a practical nugget? So this is like a tip or something that you use in the role that would help others in the role, just something practically.
Say that one more time.
So a practical nugget that you use in the role that can help people in the role. So like for me, I always, after the first year, the biggest mistake I made was not realizing everything's cyclical as far as the football calendar. So I scanned any
Oh
document I could.
yeah.
I scanned it and I put it in the folder, in the monthly folder, things like that.
Man, that's bro, you hit a We hit a pivotal point there, boy. But I say a nugget, man. A nugget for in this role. So you talked about the calendar, man. Um,
Or whatever,
this-
whatever practical,
oh,
something
I would
just
say, man, try your best to get you got to get the head buy-in, man, because like that's the biggest one. So if you can show him why you need stuff or what you need to get done, or even just the little stuff, or just getting him to buy in to the programming, I would say that start with that, because once you get the head, man, all the other stuff ain't gonna matter, because it's like, well, the head guy believes in this, so just do your thing, and you gotta fight all the other stuff with timing and scheduling and all that. But that's the biggest nugget, bro, because if you don't have the GM, the head coach, the AD, X, Y, and Z, it's not gonna matter, bro. It's like it's gonna be checkbox. So I don't like checkbox, and I don't want to be checkbox, and I always want to make sure that we make sure we align with the head, and then everything else falls down to the bottom. So man, that's the biggest. However you can do that, I don't know. I look, hey, show results, show what you've done in the past, have a conversation with them. You gotta fight for that, man. You gotta fight for the head's ear. You got to.
no. I think that's great advice. That's been my being in a role. I've had places where it was good, places where it wasn't, but like that fight of getting through people and getting to the head, man. So what I would do sometimes is like I had one head coach. He was in his office 5:30 in the morning. Nobody else was there. I gave him that 30 minutes to himself. 6 o'clock, I popped in. Hey, coach, got something for you. So I love that practical nugget.
That man. You said one more thing to add to that. With you, that's golden. Because for me, I'm a former player. I'm a former athlete. So the best time people always want to fight for guys' time. The best time to be available for those guys is I'm a 5 a.m. guy in the morning. I'm in the gym getting it, and they in there too. So they like, oh, so that's how you build that trust and that rapport, man. You got to meet them where like the dining hall, like go in there. But I always found the best because they can pull you. Hey, man, I saw what y'all were doing with the financial literacy, man. What was that about? Or like, hey, bro, like, man, it's happening again, or whatever that means. Like, but they see you every they're like, all right, I know in the morning he's gonna be in there, so I'm gonna go grab him. Because when
Right.
they out of the building and they got team meetings and they got all this stuff going on, NIL now, man, like it's gonna be hard to fight for their attention. But I've always been blessed to go in the weight room in the morning. They see me and my boy working out, and that's when them guys is like, hey, bro, X, Y, and Z, like, just how you doing, man? You good?
Yeah.
Good job today, bro. And I don't think people understand that. Like, just high five them, man. Like, you don't
Goes
have
a
to
long
be
way. Yeah.
business all the time. High five them. Like, good job. Oh, I saw you this morning, bro. Good job, boy. Hey, I seen it. I seen you on the sprints, dog. You
Yeah.
getting better, bro. They love that, man. Versus you only see it when it's time to do programming.
Right.
So that's a big nugget, I would say.
All right. So, you talk about, checking in on guys and being there and all you do for former players, man. How do you take care of yourself, man? What is your self-care routine?
So working out in the morning is one of my ways of waking myself up. So I kind of get in there early so I can get my workout in. Then I have like 2 hours to eat and do my. So I'm a big sweater. And I'm gonna get to my point. I sweat hard. So if I work out, take a shower, put my clothes on, I'm in staff meeting sweating. So I try to get up in the morning, get me a nice smoothie in, get my workout in, be done by 7, and then I take a shower and I like go in my office and I just lay on the floor and I meditate, I'll pray, I'll just chill because I know when 9 o'clock hits, I'm going. So
Yeah.
that's kind of how I do it. Or in lunchtime, if I don't have a meeting and whatnot, I try to work through lunch so I can get my stuff done with. I go walk, listen to podcasts. I'm a big podcaster, dog. I love motivational speakers. I love stuff about health and fitness. I read a lot. So I work out, shower, lay on the floor, pray, meditate, and I read for about another 30 minutes, and then I start my day. Um, but I take walks. I take a week off from working out. I sleep in. And bro, prayer, dog, meditation saved my life, bro. Like along with stop playing football and all that, man, meditation, that's the closest. And I grew up in church. That's the closest thing I have to like hearing God. When I shut up, bro, and
Right.
that's when I hear God. And that's when that kept me closer to God versus any church, any sermon I heard, all that, bro. Like that's when I really feel close to the Creator. So yeah, man, I just I take. I'm a big health nut, so I be on and off on foods, or I try to do. And I go on trips. I love music. I go to concerts. I do what I do. I'm a homie, man. I'm a cool
Right.
guy. So it's like doing that stuff at the same time, take care of business. But in the morning, I gotta have that hour or two to just before I start my day, man. I gotta give thanks. I gotta meditate. I gotta pray, and I gotta try to manifest what I want to do next with my life. So, and it's been working, man. It's been these last 5 years been a roller coaster, but that's kind of how I take care of myself, man. I just kind of massages. I do. Like a yogi, bro. Like
Yeah.
one of them type of dudes.
No, I hear you, man. It's interesting because like when I got out of that, kind of that young professional 25 to 30 age, I started seeing people like still treating their bodies well. Like, oh snap, you can go get massages even when you don't play, or you take care, or you drink this or whatever. Like, so yeah, I understand that. Yeah, man. Here we go. Thank you so much. Oh, rapid fire. Here we go. Here we go. All right. Question number one, rapid fire. What are you reading right now?
The book I'm reading right now is The Power of Vision by Miles Monroe, and I was reading Getting the Love You Want. I kind of do 2 or 3 books at a time because I want to get read, but those 2 books are like the Miles Monroe is like more at night when I'm about to go to bed, and the Getting the Love You Want, that's more about just being a better partner, figuring out your childhood traumas. Jesus
Yeah.
Christ.
Right.
Yeah, man, when I do get married to X, Y, and Z, bro, I want to make sure I'm right in the line trying to be a good partner in communication. That's the biggest thing. So that book's helping me a lot in my journey now with my partner and just life in general, learning about childhood traumas and why it stuck with us. And Miles Monroe, man, Jeff always talks about vision. You are
Yeah.
like, that's going to carry you through all the trials and drama you're going to have with your career, your life outside of your career, and just what you want to do for yourself. When that vision is powerful, man, that's when that argument ain't gonna get you down, or this person that did you wrong, or like just anything that's like, oh, it ain't happening soon enough. That vision gonna keep you steadfast and keep you strong. So, man, that's one of the things with my role, and then too, just in life, bro, like that vision. So, learning how to like set your vision and what you're wanting to do, which is all that stuff, man. So, those 2 books are what I'm reading right now.
Awesome. Awesome. Appreciate it. What daily discipline are you working on? I know you talked
Daily
about working out,
discipline,
but is there
man.
any
Daily
new ones you're working
discipline.
on?
Daily discipline. Um, is that getting that quality workout in the morning, or prayer and meditation.
Gotcha. Gotcha. All right, here we go. I like a snack or two. So you get $25 gift card. Where you going to eat lunch in Clemson?
And Clemson, man, if I get a $25 gift card, I am going to, man, you can't really, your pie, you can create your own pie for like, that's a $12, $15 with a soda. TDs, I'm gonna get some wings, the all-in wings. We created that. My guys, my old line group, we created those wings. And if I want to be healthy, man, I'm gonna go to what's another place? $25. Um, Tropical Grill. They got some great stuff for us healthy wise, but yeah, bro. So you can spend $25 wisely in those 3 places.
Okay, perfect. All right, what about $125 for dinner? Where you going?
I'm going to. I mean, Clemson could be like in the surrounding area
Let's go
because it's
surrounding
college,
areas. Let's go
town.
Atlanta. Let's go Atlanta.
Atlanta, bruh, on 20. I mean, I've been on my Fogo de Chao and my Texas Brazilian grills, but some Jamaican food
Ooh,
in Atlanta. Now I'm gonna go to Greenville. It's a place called Jamaican Me Irie. It's a great place to go. It's a
nice.
place called Halls. You can get a nice steak and some good sides for 120 in there. What else? I'm not super high maintenance like that. I'm more of I'm a sandwich dude, bro. It's a place called I'll just go with those two. Cause all the buffets are like kind of like not good no more.
Yeah, I understand. I understand. How far is Greenville from Clemson?
It's like from me it's like 35, but from Clemson it's like 40 minutes.
Gotcha.
It's like the
Gotcha.
Birmingham or the Pittsburgh, or
Yeah, I got
it's coming up now.
you. I guess. Yeah, I've heard. If you could join a band or music group, past or present, who would it be?
Oh man, if I can join a band or a music group, so I'm a huge Dungeon Family fan. So I would love to have been like the young member of like Goody Mob or Outkast, or I would have been like a member of Bone Thugs. Those are my two. Like you couldn't tell me I wasn't a Bone Thugs when I was growing up, but as a kid, Dungeon Family, like the South, and like my dad putting us on that music early. I would say Dungeon Family, bro. I could have did something.
Gotcha. And then, if you were an actor, who would you co-star in a movie with for action and comedy?
Man, if I could co-star in an action movie with somebody, it would be action movie. It would be what's my man, the dude from Transporter. He's on all the Fast and the Furious now.
Uh, I can't think of
Well, that guy. Hey, you know what I'm
that guy.
talking about.
Yeah,
He talks that guy. And then for a comedy man, I actually like. I know he's not a comedian, but he got funny answers as Wood Harris, dog. I love. But I feel like his comedy movies are still like logical, and I'll kind of be like the comedy relief in that with his
right.
serious comediness, like that movie Next Day Air. I can play like a
Yeah,
role like how Mike Epps played a role like that, or something like that. Or I always wanted to be like the guy who comes to the door to grab like the niece or the daughter, and I'm like the big homie comes to the door and be like, "What's up, bro? You good?" Start laughing like that,
yeah,
like so. I like that, bro, because everybody trying to like, oh well, I got a cousin, or like, when you're dating a girl, they always trying to like bring their uncle. But I've
yeah.
always been a big guy, so it's been like that don't scare me, and my uncles are big too.
Right. I hear you. I hear you. All right, what sport do you wish you played growing up?
uh, man, basketball was cool, but I always fouled out of that. I was too rough for basketball. Um, I would say, bro, baseball or golf. Man, see that money they making, man. Them boys
Yeah,
still walking around. They backs is good, and
yeah.
I don't know. You got to kill yourself. So baseball, bro. I think I
Three
would
out
have.
of
I
ten
wish I
and you
would have.
good.
Huh?
3 out of 10 and you good.
Yeah, or even golf, man. I think I'm missing the mark on golf right now, man. Part of being in my role now, I think I would start playing golf a lot earlier. But like baseball, bro, I missed the mark on that.
Yeah. And then last question in the podcast: how can our people find you on your social medias to support you?
Yes, so my Instagram is I'm sorry, let's go professional first. I'm on LinkedIn at Antoine McClain. Um, you can find us on pawjourney.com website, clemsontigers.com, or just Google Paw Journey. My Instagram is MacLife 256. And I'm on Facebook under my name. So yeah, bro. But also too, what else? Oh yeah, and the Clemson website under the directory of staff.
Yeah.
So that's how you can find me on the web and social media.
Awesome, man. Well, Antoine, appreciate the time, man. I'm so thankful for what you're doing in the space. I appreciate the flowers you gave me, and just man, it's been great to connect with you more and more these last 2 years, and seeing your growth, and excited for what you have next. And hey, look out, y'all! Some of y'all listening, there may be a position under him that he may be hiring. So anyway, thank you so much for being here, and man, y'all keep doing what y'all doing. Y'all are leading the way, man. Appreciate you for being a trailblazer.
Thank you, man. You keep doing your thing, bro. Keep helping guys like myself be better at their role as just your knowledge, man. And it all started with that coach coming into your classroom that day. But hey, bro, look where you are now, man. But thank you, dog, for all you do for us, bro.
I appreciate you, man. Y'all have a good one.